I think being isolated, spending more time with yourself, I believe that it opens more doors from perspective of creativity. Equipment does not comes with creativity, because I know many people making music with zero equipment. I believe it comes from the inner side.
Welcome to Born to Create, the podcast where we delve deep into the minds and hearts of artists from all walks of life. I'm your host, Maria, and each week we explore the powerful relationship between creativity and the human experience. Here, artists share their most meaningful life lessons, profound transformations, and the challenges they face along the way. Together, we'll uncover how creativity has shaped their mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Join us on this journey of discovery and inspiration and find out how creativity can impact your life too. Fabulous. Okay, well, I'm super excited. Today I'm here with KVRT. KVRT is a wonderful professional DJ and music producer, producing from techno to melodic, ethereal techno. And is also a resident DJ at TechNoise Radio, where he's very engaged as well with. So I'd love to hear more about that in a moment. But I'm super excited to have you on the podcast today. The way that we met, I found was really cool as well, because like you approached me through saying, "Hey, would you like to collab? I'm doing ethereal techno too," and then we finally met as well in ADE. So it was really awesome how to meet you. You're very skilled in techno production, and you're from Ankara, from Turkey. Yeah, so thank you so much for being on the podcast. I'm very excited to chat with you a little bit about hearing about your story and topic of creativity and your music. So yeah, it's my pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me in your podcast.
Yeah,
As you said,
go on.
I've been producing for a while, like for 5 years, and I have a background of playing classical guitar and then electric guitar. And then in my university, I met some talented people. Then I joined the radio, and it's my family now, TechNoise Radio. It's established in Ankara, Turkey, our home country. And for now, this is my musical journey.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like until today, I actually never knew that your background is in guitar. Guitar, you mentioned, yeah?
Yeah.
When did you start that?
I was 13.
Wow. Do you still play?
No, I quit.
Oh, you quit?
I mean, yeah, my direction is changed over years, but maybe one day.
Yeah. How might the background of playing guitar helped you on your current journey that you're doing with electronic music?
Well, first I got classical guitar. It's the common thing that it doesn't matter, but I think it matters. Because then I stepped into electric guitar, the amplifiers, and I started to wonder what's happening inside that box, and then into computers. Then, after years, I started to search for music on the internet. And then it's growing like the DAWs middle of the 2010s in that years. And I find myself downloading things and cutting, editing, doing something, creating.
And how do you feel when you do that? Clearly, you've been very drawn to it.
Yeah, it makes me feel good. It makes me like exploring myself.
When you started, you mentioned that you started with that in 2010, so that's like 14 years of working with
Electronic, yeah.
Yeah.
And before that, I have some background of two instruments.
Yeah. Well, so when you started with the digital, like with electronic music production with the DAWs, with the DAW, which software have you been using?
I'm using Ableton Live right now, but I tried some other DAWs. I'm using Logic Pro as my second DAW. That's all for now.
Yeah. Nice. Do you prefer one or the other? I mean, I know now. No, because we're both.
Yeah. I prefer Ableton.
Yeah. Nice. I mean, I'm just curious, like perhaps to record some of your guitar. I know Logic is very good for that, isn't it? To record live.
Yeah, they say the
Yeah.
same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have a session with
Yeah.
electric and classical guitar.
Yeah. Bring that in.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So would you love to share a little bit more about your background as, KVRT, the artist we're speaking now, but your personal life, like how did you grow up, and apart from the guitar and everything that we've already heard, I'd love to hear a bit more.
Actually, I started to play turntables, spending my time with analog. It was 2012. After that, I had my first performance in 2015. And my alias, KVRT, I'm making music since 2020.
Nice. And before?
And before, I know just 30 seconds of recordings,
Okay.
nothing else.
Yeah, cool. So what was the turning point for you in 2020? What inspired you to start with as KVRT? And
I felt like I have to start from one point. That trigger.
it was like an internal sort of, just an inspiration.
Yeah, just an inspiration.
Yeah. Nice. So have you always, like even before playing guitar, you mentioned you started doing that at 13, and obviously then you also started analog playing, DJing, and it continued into music production. Before all of that, like how was it for you, the creative process? What was that like, the relationship to creativity with you?
Well, I think creativity comes from for a moment. It just comes, but then you have to catch it.
Yeah.
The digital programs are making that much more easy to use your ideas into sounds, to blend them, and you'll get an output of music,
Yeah.
if that's the music.
Yes. Before guitars and before the digital tools, what were you doing before that?
Before 13,
Yes.
I'm always a good listener. I had, before 13, I had a Walkman, and then I had a CD player, but I used mostly my Walkman. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So you were already prepping music in your ears long time before.
Yeah, long time before.
Yeah. What's the music that you listened to mainly or preferred?
In that years,
Yeah, musician.
as
Well,
a,
that years, and we can start there,
and
go into now.
I think if we talk about this year, I expand my listening spectrum, I can say. I listen different genres these days.
Yes.
Mainly, I can say, apart from electronic, I listen jazz, soul, easy listening, piano, not complicated melodies.
So it's kind of
And
the raw instruments as well, right? You've got the piano, and then you've got jazz with, the saxophone,
yeah, apart from electronic ones.
apart from electronics, yeah. What's your favorite electronic DJs or artists that you currently listening?
Well, I mainly do techno, but I'm not far into house. I can say Boris Brejcha,
Oh, yes. Yes. Hmm.
Did you ever listen to him?
Oh, yeah. I sometimes used to put his sets on to go running because they would
Oh,
really get me into into
yeah,
gear.
I agree. I
Yes.
agree. I also love listening. Jonas Salva, also from Germany. Anna from Brazil. And I can say Sole,
Hmm.
Stefan Bodzin.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed his set in Burning Man. He was there, and I missed his set. Super cool. Yeah. So in the TechNoise Radio, I know you're like very actively involved with them, apart from being a resident DJ. So when did you start? How's that experience been for you? And I'd love to hear, or yeah, a little bit more about.
I've joined TechNoise Radio in 2022. We've hosted more than 500 guests in our radio. And nowadays we're preparing for our season 9. It's we're just working hard to. We have a new format about labels.
Mm.
We're looking more like labels to broadcast like a label showcase
Mm-hmm.
in
Yes.
our radio. And also we have a format of Be Our Guest, open for artists. And we have Fresh Talent series, which is giving a chance to artists to at the beginning of their careers with
Mm.
no names.
Yeah. Really, really cool.
We're giving them space to share their DJ sets.
Yeah. No, that's awesome to give them that space. So seems like very much a passion, like not just passion project, but something that you're very passionate about, right? Because I can see you very active in that, and you share a lot about it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
next year's season 10 will be the best season.
oh yeah, why is it?
Be ready for it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we've
We
got
have some plans.
really cool, fantastic. Well, yeah, we'll all have a look out for that. So I can just remind everyone: TechNoise Radio. Have a listen if you haven't already. Fantastic. So I know that we also talked about, well, you shared something about, you know, the topic of comfort zone as artists. I'm curious about that a little bit for you to share a little bit more about, yeah, what's your take on that, artists and comfort zone?
Well, I think each of us has some limits around us that surrounds us. We call it comfort zone. And I think growing up starts with uh, just one step outside of that zone. And I believe that in music industry, getting started from one point is, I think, the half of the work. If creativity comes and you felt like it, uh, you should go for it. If we talk about music, maybe recording from your phone would be useful,
Mhm.
not to forget,
Yeah, no, it's true.
or composing into the AW,
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
What do
Jake,
you think?
yeah, I agree with you. Absolutely. I think, we often have those creative, well, inspirations, epiphanies, or even just subtle sort of thoughts. Oh, that could be cool to do. But then a lot of those things aren't acted on, right? So I agree with you. It's like eventually we just have to take the step and do something different. And yeah, comfort zone can be broken just by doing 0.1% going into that direction, or it can be about, okay, today I make a huge shift to go out of it and face some fear of some discomfort. So I absolutely agree that that's where growth lies. And yeah, so what was it? What was your comfort zone?
Oh, it's a good question. I think spending time with my friends, my family, they're my comfort zone.
Yeah, I hear you. can be very easy to sort of like fall into wanting to spend time with friends and then sort of not focusing on our inspiration or just acting on it. So what do you feel like in that case? Like, what would be your little step out of that? How might that look like?
Well, maybe getting isolated or spending more time with yourself. It opens new doors in my case.
Yeah. Everyone has different kind of comfort zones, right? So thank you for sharing yours.
Well, I think being isolated, spending more time with yourself, I believe that it opens more doors from perspective of creativity.
It's really important to sometimes do things differently than what we're used to step outside of that one way of doing things, and then that causes even more inspiration and more creative flow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. 'Cause it's always inspiring to hear people's comfort zones because then we're like, oh yeah, that's what I'm doing. So yeah.
And what's your comfort zone?
Yeah. Well, right now, I I actually just broke through one recently because, well, I've broken through it again, let's say, because it's like a cycle sometimes. So it's the thing that keeps coming back. It's like sometimes when, oh, you have an idea or something that's important to you, especially when it's something creative for me, so like whether it's art or music, eventually I can feel that I'm distracting myself with other things. Like, yeah, for example,
Perfect.
the house be around me needing to be perfect or needing to be super clean. And it is better for me. I do feel better with it. But then, if you notice after time, you're just shifting that idea that you had and you're not acting on it because always something else comes in between. Then you
Daily works
have to
and
wonder.
tasks, yeah, they're not ending.
Yes. Then you have to wonder, oh, is it truly that I do need to do it then exactly? Or is it just me shifting, avoiding, So I guess that's the distractions tend to be a comfort zone of mine. So I have to always become aware of it and then get myself out of it get again. But yeah, and in the past I would have many other different comfort zones, and a lot of them were to do with just hiding and being shy and having confidence and showing myself or speaking to people required a lot of effort for me to get out of that fear, plus many others. So yeah, it's a big topic. Yeah.
What do you think about cell phones? I think they're also comfort zones and distracted.
They are, and they add, and they are under the list of my everything distraction possibility.
It's the top of
The top things, right? So easy to just first of all get pulled into being on the phone and scrolling and looking, and then you becomes a habit, right? You just automatically your body gets used to an internal clock always checking, and it happens so automatic. So it's actually really, really bad. I mean, it forces us to be even more disciplined and even more aware. And for me, I'm noticing it a lot. And I also feel, having a digital detox or just shutting off the phone for a week in the past has been really helpful for me to get out of that, right? The thing.
I didn't try a week.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's a long time ago that I did that. But
Oh,
I even bought myself like a box where you can basically seal the phone on a timer so that you can't access it for a certain amount of time. And that's also been
1 week, really?
Yeah, you
1
can
week
stay
is
as long as you want. Or just
it's a
hours.
good challenge and a good detox.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll try.
Try it. It works because if you can't access it, then you're forced to have to refocus your habit into other you're retraining your body basically to not be in that habit. So it's good. But yeah, so I also know that there was a topic around equipment, money, equipment as an artist, what you really need. And and the effect on the creative process, which I'd love to also touch on with you.
Well, I believe that equipment does not comes with creativity, because I know I know many people making music with zero equipment. I believe it comes from the inner side. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I agree with you because there are artists, and I literally just had a conversation about that today with one of my production coaches, who also says it's like you don't need much equipment or much plugins, like you can use just the most minimal amount and just be creative with that. And there is proof on the fact that creative limitation in terms of like, or just like limitation of either objects or tools that you have really pushes you to come outside and think, how can I use this in a more creative way? Right. So yeah, I think I agree with you, but
Well, I
also
think so.
I understand the desire to want to play around with different equipments and stuff like that. But I think it's a very important point that you're pointing out.
Because you and I, we have some equipments, but we bought it over the years. It's not happened in a short time.
Yeah, that's right. I also don't have that much equipment, to be honest. I know music producers who like have a amalgamation of things, but I agree.
Yeah, you have good MIDI devices.
Yeah, there are definitely
Yeah.
a few things. Yeah, but it's true. It's over years. But I
Yes.
think like your point is very important because there are lots of people who think, oh, I can't start to produce or I can't be a good producer until I have this amount of things or that particular software or program. And what you're saying here is that you don't need it to be a good producer or a good artist. You can create even with a mouse and your software, for example. Right?
Yeah, I think we don't even need a computer right now. It's coming into mobile devices.
Yeah.
I believe one device and one headphone will be much enough.
Yeah.
Because technology making it easier to produce, compose, arrange
Right.
these days.
Yeah. You're right. So there's no excuse not to start.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Well, I think this is some really, really valuable points here. How can people find you? Like, do you have any shows or of course we know that you're on the radio but yeah, how can people listen to your music, be engaged with you and all of that?
They can find me on Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud as KVRT Music. I've been preparing an album for next year,
Yeah.
some collaborations,
Uh-huh. Yes.
and
Yeah. You're being really active and engaged. So there's lots of really exciting things to come. So I can just, recommend everyone to have an eye on what's to come musically on your side and project wise. So yeah, I really appreciate your time today. If there was one final question for me to ask you, like around
of course,
your wisdom or advice, whatever comes to you right now for any artist either starting right now on their creative process, what advice would you give? What's the one thing that comes to you?
well, I think that I'm thinking or over processing, it's a destructive thing. I think that we should not have to think all of our actions 1,000 times. If you had an inspiration that day, go and write it down or just hum it to your phone or just record it.
Yeah,
Just keep it
just act on it
and
straight away.
and it will turn into a piece of art
Yeah,
one day.
you're right. That is,
So don't overthink.
yeah. Thank you. That's a beautiful thing to end this on. And I agree. If more people would act on their inspirations in the moment and just follow it, beautiful art would arise. So yeah, thank you. That
Thank
someone.
you, Maria. Thank you for hosting me
That's my
in
pleasure.
your podcast.
Thank you very much. I look forward to speaking to you soon. All right.
Me too.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Born to Create. I hope you found today's conversation as inspiring and enlightening as I did. Remember, creativity is not just about making art. It's about embracing transformation, nurturing our mental and emotional health, and connecting with our deeper selves. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback helps us reach more listeners and continue bringing you these powerful stories. Until next time, stay inspired, keep creating, and remember that you were born to create.